welcome to the Yeshiva League Pass podcast tip-off show. I'm Ari Wickus, joined by the one and only Oren Glickman. This is episode 8. We are so excited to be back with you this week. This is playoff podcast extravaganza. We have a great guest on this show. The player of the week is Ricky Haddad from Flatbush. We're going to get him on in a few minutes, but let's talk about our sponsors. And before we do, we have a brand new sponsor. I've been talking about it for the past few weeks that we did have a new sponsor coming. So Camp Seneca Lake is our new proud sponsor of the podcast. And they are also a sponsor of the All-Star game coming up at the Flatbush Falcon Gymnasium, the Triangle Gym. Camp Seneca Lake, it's been around forever under the guidance and leadership of Ross Zuckerman, a great place. A lot of our guests in the past shows have been Camp Seneca alumni, current counselors, campers, a great place to go if you're looking for a summer program where you can have all the luxury of living well, playing sports, doing all the stuff that is fun in a great camp environment, great things to do, the great food. Seneca has all the pizza, the Seneca sprinkles. If you've been there, you've seen it, it's second to none. We also like to talk about our returning sponsors who've been with us all season, Holy Schnitzel and Gotta Get a Bagel. Holy Schnitzel, as I said, I'm sure people coming off their Super Bowls, they've had some Holy Schnitzel. Great place to get some food. Eat there, enjoy, and you will get it all over the place. And then you Gotta Get a Bagel, bagels and appetizing, sushi, salads. They do it all. Catering at both these places. Give them a shout. Give them a try. You will not be disappointed. And speaking of not being disappointed, let's bring in our star of the week, the Flatbush Falcon extraordinary guard, Ricky Haddad. Hello, Ricky. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good.
All right, Ricky is on location. He's serving a little President's Week vacation, so we had him in the southern state of Florida.
You can tell by the curtains.
Yeah, exactly. The curtains. He's on location, but Ricky, we're really happy to have you. Obviously, you've been a star player throughout your career, a great season, and really, you guys are in a position now that you're trying to get back to that championship game. We'll get into that. We're just going to talk about your season, the highs, the lows, where you're at, and I'm just going to start it. And tell us about your season. Obviously, coming after last year, where you guys had the unbelievable season. You went to the championship. You won a few championships in some tournaments. A great season. You were a junior on a very senior-heavy team, and obviously you were a contributor in that team. Tell us the biggest difference between last year being a contributor and now being a star player on a team that has Flatbush, knocking on the door of getting back into the championship.
I mean, it's definitely a big change. Last year we had 8 seniors that played. Like our rotation was 10 guys. We had 8 seniors, and now it's a full new team. It's a full new roster basically. And then we lost Sam also in the beginning, so then I really had to step up a little bit on offense. Sam was supposed to contribute 10, 15, 20 points a game. And then when he went down, I really had to step up more offensively. But I mean, Coach Mack puts me in the right position. He gives us the right game plan, and we're doing good.
Right, so how did you? And obviously, you're a scorer. You're kind of like what we call hybrid guard. You're like the Shea Alexander, where you can be a point guard, you can be a shooting guard. You play that herky jerky style. What is the biggest adjustment for you coming into the season, knowing that your scoring is going to be really paramount to the team's success? And how did you handle that?
I definitely knew I needed to score a lot more because I was a true point guard on all for the last 3 years playing with all those guys, Ronnie, Shia, Cooper, Benny. I didn't need to score, I would just distribute. But this year I had to take that step up, now it's just all summer really. I was just working on my game, like my mid-range, adding my mid-range, a bunch of other stuff. Just being really more aggressive. It's like a whole different mindset, honestly, this year than all the other years I've been playing. Like, because I really have to score. I have to get to the rim. I have to create. And yeah, I'm doing solid. We're doing solid with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oren, what do you have for Ricky?
Do you see a difference in your first 2 years of your high school career and your last 2 years of your high school career playing under Coach Matt Malk?
Yeah, I mean, I had 3 different coaches. I had A.B. Rosso my freshman year, then Coach Adam Ginsberg, and then now Coach Malk, obviously. I really like him as a coach. I like his practices. They're fun practices. Like everything, like the whole basketball experience is really just like better with him around. But I like the way he coaches. We play a whole different style of basketball. Like last year, full court man, some games like just man, hard defense all game in your face guarding guys. He brings a lot of energy. He brings a lot of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. You see that on the court, and it's true. And you've been playing on varsity, I believe, since sophomore year, right? Were you on varsity since sophomore year? So tell us about, we weren't going to go a show without getting into this, the nitty gritty, the Flatbush Mag and David rivalry. Obviously, it's second to none. You have DRS, Hafter, TABC, Frisch, SAR. I don't think there's any rivalry, and I've been around Yeshiva League basketball way too long. Tell us about the intensity, what it means to you, and then we'll get into the Sarachek playing game in a minute. But tell us about all that means playing against your boys that you're with all the time. But once you lace them up in that game, what does it feel like?
Those games are the best. It's really like in the champion YU last year, that game, like it was like for the next month, really like anyone on anyone on that court, wherever we went in Deal, in Brooklyn, like people would really talk to you about the game. Like there was everyone watched that game. Like those games are really that's what I'm gonna miss most when I graduate. Like Flatbush Maggin games, I'm so happy we have another chance. Honestly.
Right, but when you're playing in that game, do you feel like you have to be at your best? Everything is so hypersensitive, or is there a way as a basketball player you can kind of put the 1,000 screaming Brooklyn fans on the side or Deal and just focus on the game? How does that mindset change? Once the game starts.
Right, we definitely try to say it's just another game. Every time we usually get riled up in the beginning, it gets sloppy always a little bit, gets chippy. But we try to always say it's just another game. But really, like when you're there and everyone's there, it's hard not, it's just you have to try to keep our composure and play smart. It's really very hard not to get sped up, it's great. It's a sick environment. It really is.
Absolutely. Oren, what do you got?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I think nobody can dispute the hype of the Mac and Flatbush rivalry, but I actually had a chance to watch a playoff game last week, and I think I heard in the background a big traveling YDE fan base. Was that intense? Did that feed into the adrenaline at all?
I think we got Ricky's frozen.
He froze.
All right.
Yeah, I'm back.
Rick, you're back. All right, there you go, Rick. You gave us a little hezzy. You stalled, and now you're back. Go ahead.
I can repeat my question if that helps.
Did you hear the question? Okay.
Yeah, I'm good. The YDE fan base, I did not know they rolled that deep. To be honest, like a lot of guys were there, and they were loud. They weren't shy when they came to our gym, and we liked it. Like our friends were there. They're hooting and hollering. It was a great environment because of them. Honestly. Makes it so much better.
What did you mentioned, and we've mentioned on numerous episodes before, you said Sam went down with an injury early in the season. So take me through, and I obviously understand, the leadership that you had. You had to give that either way, with Sam playing, without as a senior leader. But expectation-wise for your season, obviously, you go into the season, you're always thinking championship. As a player like you, in the mindset of Matt, that's what you guys are hoping for. But how did you have to adjust that? How was that, Sam going down, then not only the team having to improve, but you having to carry the team as the best player and the leader on the team? How did that change your mindset, and how did you deal with all that?
Really, it all really happened so fast. Like coming into the season, I don't even know, like you guys know, we were supposed to have a couple JV guys on our team last minute. So they ended up wanting to stay on JV, play with their friends. And then Sam went down, like from summer, we played in the summer, we practiced in the summer until 2 months after the summer. It was a completely different team, a full new rotation. We really just had to adapt quick. And it's happened in the middle of our season too. You know what I mean? Like we just got thrown right into the fire. But it's not only me. When Sam went down, now we have guys stepping up left and right. Like Claude Pardo gave us a couple 25-point games this year. Aaron Romano is a beast. Alan Andrews stepping up like crazy. It really it definitely took us some time to figure it out, really. Like after I think the Mag and David loss at home, I think that was a big turning point in our season. Then we got a couple big wins after that. But Lost my thought.
Yeah, that's okay.
Game, yeah, we all started to figure out our roles and like just execute the game plan. Like, because last year we were just defense and run, fly up the court. We were the most talented team, I think, every time we played. Really, like this year it was more like slow it down. We got to play smart, value every possession, like. And we did a good job. Like, we're really doing a good job, honestly. We get a lot of tough wins now, just being smart, not doing too much, playing defense.
Yeah, doing it all. It's like, it's true. You became more of a nitty gritty team as opposed to, like, the high flying offense. Yeah, that changed a lot. So tell me about, and we mentioned it before. So now you have the Sarachek possibility. You're having a playing game, Maggin against Flatbush. I mean, obviously, why you knew what they were doing when they put this game together. They want to pack the stands. They replicate the championship environment for last year, both fighting to get into the illustrious Sarachek tournament. Talk me through it. When you found out that you were playing in it, I assume you didn't even get much notice prior because that stuff is kept very quiet. Tell me about the feeling when you heard you guys are in it, and guess what? You're playing the Mag and David Warriors. So take me through that.
Coach Malk, it was the Super Bowl weekend on Friday. Coach Malk texted like emergency Zoom 5 minutes quick. Like, no one knew what was happening. Everyone stops in the middle of the day. We're all on the Zoom. He announced we have another chance to play Maggin, and all the boys are turning up. Honestly, we had them. We just played them. We lost them away in Maggin. I don't know if you guys know. Close game. We had them. I made a couple bad plays. Whatever. We lost it, but I'm really so happy I have another opportunity. The YU matchmakers cooked with this one, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they definitely are. They hit a home run in Brooklyn and Deal, that's for sure. Oren, what do you have? One more question for him, and then I'll end with a question.
Yeah. So before that Maggin game, you guys now pivot your focus to TABC in the playoffs. You guys actually met in the regular season. I think TABC won by over 20. That was unfortunately the night where Sam Jamal went down. What gives you guys the belief that it could be different this time around?
I mean, it's almost March. Anyone could be beat. Like, we're not. Anyone could be beat any given day. Really. That CABC game also, when we played them, it was a rough night. Like, it was a bad week. We didn't really have practice before it, and then, as you know, Sam went down. Sam had like 25, like 2.5 quarters into that game. Like, he was really going off, and he went down. And then it spiraled out of there. But we definitely didn't play our best ball back then. We're a completely new team, honestly. We have a new rotation. We all have different roles, really. But we were a completely different team back then, really. And anyone can beat. We'll talk.
It is almost March, as Ricky said. All right, so I'm gonna end with a question, but before I get into that question, it's kind of ironic, but it's really nice that you are our first player of the week, where we have Camp Seneca Lake as a new sponsor. Talk to me before I get into the question about you as a Camp Seneca alumni. I don't know if you're going back there this summer to work. Tell us about Camp Seneca experience and how much it's meant to you over the course of your childhood and your basketball career.
Seneca's the best. I mean, being like Syrian, going to Flatbush, then in Deal in the summer, you see the same people over and over again. Going to Seneca, Branch. Like, I'm in Florida right now. I was hanging out with all my friends from Seneca last night. I haven't seen them in 2 years. Like, it's really great. Like, it was great. I'm so happy I went. I went late. I didn't go until I was 8th grade, I think. And it's the best summers. It was the best summers.
All right, there you go. First-hand report from Ricky Haddad about Camp Seneca Lake. Okay. Now, for our final question, I kind of been asking this question a bunch of episodes, so you may have done your research, you may have not. I want you to give me, you're all Syrians, only Syrians are going out to, they're taking on the West Coast Syrians. Who's your starting five? Syrians or any Syrian heritage. So like Karl Anthony Towns plays for the Dominican Republic. So if he has a grandfather who's Syrian, his name is Morris or something, you could add him to the team. Right. Give me your starting five.
I'm allowed to put me?
Yeah, of course you're going to put you. Yeah.
I'll be at the 1. We're definitely going Ramaz Bobby at the 3. At the 5, I have a sneaky 5. He had a short-lived Yeshiva League career. He used to play for Magen Avraham this year. Michael Dervich at the 5. He's a stretch 5. He's got some good length, really good length, can block shots, stretch the floor for us. He can give us some good minutes. He played this year actually with a completely broken arm. Like he broke his arm in practice, and then just a month later, he got his cast off. He just started playing. I don't know how, but he was playing. At the 4, I have another sneaky pick. I'm gonna go Meyer Sakal from Maggin. He's just the perfect role player. I played with him all summer, him, and Bobby in tournaments. He does everything you need to win a game.
Hold on. It sounds like Ricky doesn't want to share the ball. He's got a lot of role players. Ricky's like, I'm going to score 40 a game. All right, you got one more spot.
We'll put Allen at the 2. Allen will get some shots up. All
right, wait, who's Allen? Allen what?
Allen Enzer.
Oh, okay. And then who's your last player in the team?
Last player on the team, me 1, Allen 2, Bobby, Meyer, and then my boy Squid, Dervich.
All right, there you go. That is the squad. Something tells me a lot of those kids are in the room with him as he's doing this this podcast.
Just my brother.
No. Okay, listen.
Problem, by the way, next year. Freshman.
Another Haddad coming. That's we're gonna have to talk to the league if we're gonna let any.
Well, they're a top seed right now in JV, so
you guys should make him cut his hair if he wants to play. Real talk.
We'll see. We don't make those rules. We're not the New York Yankees. But listen, Ricky, awesome season. I was able to meet you earlier at some tournaments, and I've got to know you over the course of your career. Always with a smile on your face, always having a good time. And the most important thing, the respect you have from your teammates, classmates, and competitors on the court really shows a lot about you and your true character. So congrats on the player of the week. We wish you a ton of luck. I probably wish you a little more luck than Oren does as you play TABC in the next round. But once again, that's Ricky Haddad, our player of the week.
Thank you, Ari. It was a blast.
You got it. You too, Ricky. My Brook. Best of luck in the playoffs.
Wow, there it is, Ricky Haddad. What a great player of the week. And I came up with that Syrian all-time team because I wanted to. I feel like some of these players are getting a little, they're preparing for the question, so we threw that out. And kudos to Ricky. I didn't know half those players, but Ricky knows who he wants to go to war with, and that's going to be a team that can compete with anyone. So, Oren, we got a big preview right now. We have the playoffs. We're pretty much in the quarterfinals, minus the SAR Ramaz game, which will take place this week, barring any snowstorm on Thursday. If it does, it will get moved to Sunday. But we'll push that aside. We had our picks. You pretty much hit on all of them. I was one off on the Hillel Frisch game, which deservedly so. I got some flack on, which from the Hillel kids and secondary messages I got from people, which is great. I love it. I love to see them. Really slap me in my face with my prediction, but that's what it's all about. It's prediction. So let's start with our first matchup. Speaking of Hillel is going to go down to travel to North Shore in Great Neck. They're going to take on them. The winner takes on TABC, the TABC game against Flatbush. We're going to focus on the North Shore Hillel game. I was really impressed with Hillel. They really took a game that, we both agreed that the line was about 4 or 5 points, was close. They won by 20 points. Pretty much from what I heard, I didn't see the game really, but pretty much going away. I think it was a halftime, maybe a 1-point game, or it was close.
Yeah.
And then they really, separated themselves. Kudos to an all-around effort by not just Braha, Tered, Epstein, Segura, and some other names I just off the top of my right, Tobias. Well-rounded game. Now they're going into North Shore. North Shore is rested. I clearly think Hillel is the favorite of this game. I've learned my lesson about not picking against them. We'll get into our predictions in a sec. But I think the offensive firepower of Hillel is going to be too much for North Shore. I think they have the size to counter Phil Cohen and the other Cohen on the team. And I think their widespread offense really clicking right now. I think they're on all cylinders. They're going to win this game. I think the spread right now is Hillel actually goes into North Shore as probably a 4-point favorite. I'm going to say even as a road team, they're favored by 4. What do you see? What are the key matchups in this game, North Shore versus Hillel?
No, I think I agree with you. This is actually the second meeting between these teams, unless they also met in Satcham. But I actually got to see these teams up close in Memphis, and Hillel won pretty convincingly. The only way I could see a slow Hillel team showing up is if the commute from Deal to Great Neck takes a toll on them, because it's not an easy travel for them. Having said that, though, I think Hillel's an overwhelming favorite in this one, and I think they should be punching their ticket into the Final Four here.
Yeah, I think so. I would be really surprised. And again, no knock on North Shore. I think they've had a season above their heads. They had a great season, finished as the 2 seed, and I just feel like Hillel wins it. I think it'd be a pretty big. I don't know if big upset because when you're the home team in a quarterfinal games, I don't know if it could be a big upset, but it would be an upset if North Shore beats Hillel, and I think Hillel wins in by 9-10 points, and I think they're in control throughout the game, and I think they just match up well with North Shore. They have the depth, they have the height, they have the strength, and they obviously have the scores. So we're both in agreement. We pick Hillel to upset the higher seed North Shore in that one quarterfinal match. The next one we'll get into is we'll stay in the same bracket is TABC taking on Flatbush. We just mentioned it. Ricky was our player of the week. They played earlier in the season, as you said, as you saw, when Sammy Jamal went down with his injury, major injury, out for the season. Flatbush is playing some really good ball right now. There's no question TABC is a favorite in this game. I think the size of Ayal, the shooting of Mandel, and all their other players and the point guard Sachs is just a very unheard of Sachs. He's not unheard of. He's just a quiet, straight takes care of business, really solid player. I think obviously they're feeling very confident as the 1 seed. Before we get into it, what are your key matchups between TABC and Flatbush in this quarterfinal game?
I think you said it right away. They're going to use the bully pulpit of Kinderler to really, shut the door on Flatbush very early in the game. But knowing Coach Matt Malk, he's going to over prepare for this one. I think he's zoning in on Kinderler for those film sessions. And if Kinderler is able to shut the door early on Flatbush, I don't think this will be much of a game, but I'm not making a prediction. And in terms of the Flatbush side, I think Ricky Haddad is just going to have to ball out to make this a competitive game. He obviously said it's close to March, anything can happen, but I think anybody would be crazy to suggest that this is that this is not a David Goliath matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the one key thing you said is I think Ayal, he can't be stopped, right? Because even when he's stopped, he has a double-double, affects the game in so many ways. But I think that's the beauty of the superstar of Ayal. He could have 10 points and still play a dominant game. He's not taking 20 shots a game. He's one of the rare superstars where he takes what comes to him, takes high percentage shots. So I think it's really, in my opinion, the other secondary players. I think Yona Mandel, Faber, Borgen. I think those guys are really important on their widespread offensive. Kaiser, the corner shooters at TABC. I think those guys are really going to step up. If you quote unquote stop Ayal, or I would say more slow him down, you still have so many weapons. Coach Oz, great coaching matchup. Coach Oz against Coach Malk. Wow, that's a superstar matchup right there. I think the spread is probably TABC is favored by 12, 13 points as the 1 seed, Flatbush coming in as the 4 seed. But I think it's going to be a close game. But I think ultimately Flatbush does cover this. I'm sorry, TABC does cover their spread, wins by double digits going away. And, then we're both looking, well, you're not predicting, then we'd be potentially looking at a TABC Hillel rematch from an earlier season game in the semifinals. So that's the game there. Then on the other side, this is a really great game, interesting game. You have MTA hosting the Magen David Warriors, the defending champions Magen David Warriors, playing back at YU. They got to be thrilled to be there. Not only are they playing there, they're going to get that opportunity in the playing game for Sarachek. We know how comfortable they are in playing at the Mac Center, playing in big games. And now MTA really has a lot to prove, right? They had a great season, but at the end, as we had Jakey Abinaim last week on the show, they came up short in their biggest matchup of the year against SAR when everyone in the league was tuned in, and they got really handled in that game. I think Magen comes into this game with tremendous confidence. Obviously, like, oh, we got MTA. Wow, everything is set up for us, right? This is a 2 seed. We're not afraid of them. And I think MTA has been feeling that all year. Teams have taken them a little bit for granted, a little bit on the lighter side. But this matchup is going to be Josh Shabbat. Is he going to score his 30 points? is he going to score 20 points? If he scores 30, they win. If he scores 20, it's a little trickier because they have to get offense from a lot of guys. What do you see in this matchup? And I think the one other key is the size of MTA really countering Magin's more of a guard associated offense. What do you see in this matchup?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Josh Shabbat has to be ecstatic that he gets to play at YU again in a big playoff game. So the fact that Magen David's the road team, they're still going to a gym that they have extreme familiarity with. And on the MTA side, if you're going to counter Shabbat and Scher, obviously we had Jakey on last week, but I think it's really going to have to run through Josh Truhoff, the big.
Yeah, that is such a, he's right, because Magen doesn't have the bigs minus the guy who broke his arm that Ricky was talking about. They don't really have the big scorer, down low defender to counter a kid of that size. So yeah, I think that's going to be key. Also, I think and you mentioned it. I think every time when the road team, even at the beginning of Sarachek, goes to YU, they never know where to shoot the 3-point line because it's like a tic-tac-toe draw. There's like 3 different lines. Maybe they took away one. It's very confusing because there's a college line, the high school line, and there's even another line, old line. And kids are shooting so far back from the 3-point line. In general, when you get to YU, you're almost shooting it from the logo. So I think Magen will have that familiarity with the court, and that won't be as big a deal.
And let's remind ourselves that Magen David actually played MTA in last year's Sarachek tournament. So MTA's fans were full capacity, and it didn't have an effect on Magen David whatsoever. So this could happen again this year as well.
Yeah, and I think Magen will travel well. They'll have a nice crowd there. I think the spread in this game is MTA probably favored by 3-4 points, maybe 4 or 5 points. I think in that vicinity. And I'm really torn on who I'm picking. I just feel like I'm picking Magen. I can't go against the heart of a champion, and I just think Josh is going to rise up and he is going to put that team on his back. He has such confidence when he plays, and his game is just it's hard to stop because he's so good off the dribble, so good in mid-range, great on the fast break. And those guys have been playing together in all the big games. I think Magen pulls the upset, wins, again, could be an overtime game, 2-3 points. I think they win. What do you see between the outcome of the Magen David Warriors and MTA Lions?
Like you, I'm also picking Magen David, but I'm picking Magen David without reservation. I think they easily win this game, and I think MTA will be beating themselves up from that last game of the regular season against SAR, because had they won that game, they would have drawn, in my opinion, a much easier opponent in Flatbush.
In Magen's opinion, too, a much easier opponent, only because they beat him twice this year. But no, I think there you go. So we're picking that. Should we? I guess we might as well preview the other game. We know it's either going to be SAR or Ramazi against DRS. DRS is like the sleeping giant. They just keep winning and they're waiting. So I think we could just quickly talk about that game. We'll talk about it as if Ramaz was playing.
Well, I had already predicted SAR to win that playoff game.
Right. So there you go. So let's start with that. SAR, we're gonna forecast this game right now.
We'll forecast both games.
Right. So you have SAR going into DRS, taking on the DRS Wildcats in the third matchup.
That's still crazy to think about.
Yeah. Third matchup, and both games went to not overtime. The first game in the Magen David tournament championship went to overtime. DRS victorious. The game at SAR earlier in the season, SAR wins on a nullified basket by Joe Aaron half a second after the buzzer, and now potentially back at it. This is such a great matchup. It's almost like a championship matchup in the quarterfinals, and SAR has themselves to blame for that because losing some games at the end of the season put them in the 4 seed, or maybe they're happy to be there and just beat who's in front of them. Confidence wise, SAR knows they can win, which is pretty insane going against the number 1 team in the league, maybe in the country all season. I think it's going to be a great game. It's going to be Joe Aaron, Sam Weiss, Ari Halper, Saidi, but I think this game is really going to be the shooter on DRS. What's his name? Number 15.
Saknovitz.
Yeah, you said it much better than I could have even tried. He had a great game against SAR at SAR. He's like one of these guys, comes with his briefcase, ready to work, not a lot of emotion, just a lot of 3-point shots that go in. really is a great equalizer, and he comes off the bench. What do you see in this game? DRS potentially playing SAR in the quarterfinals at DRS.
Ari, it's just wild to me. Like, we're talking about an SAR DRS quarterfinal game.
Right.
This is a game that you expect to see in the finals. Having said that, I really would like SAR's chances of pulling off the upset at the greenhouse. I think it's a nightmare matchup for DRS to have to draw SAR that early. And I think SAR will travel well. And I think SAR will continue to ride off that mojo that they had in the regular season finale to MTA.
Yeah, I actually think DRS is going to win. I think it's a close game. I think DRS is favored probably by 3 to 4 points in this game. I think DRS wins. I think the biggest advantage is Joe Aaron. I think he's not going to struggle because he can get to the rim. He can elevate in his jump shot. I think DRS, this season they're having, it kind of seems all lined up for them. And I just feel like they carry the momentum and they beat SAR in this semifinal matchup. And then if they do that, they would be playing Mag and David in the semifinal matchup on that side. If Ramaz beats SAR, they're going to come into DRS, I think, as a much bigger underdog than SAR would, obviously. They are going to go into that game never having played DRS, and it's going to be a really big crowd at DRS. And it's going to be, I'm not going to predict this game, but I just think it's going to be a really tough matchup because Joe Aaron is so good at scoring, and he can go up. If you have a smaller guy defending him, like a Bobby Segura, Evan Borkoff, he can elevate on his jumper, get his shots out. And it's going to be a tough matchup. What do you see if Ramaz is victorious over SAR and then goes on to DRS?
Yeah, so if I'm DRS and I'm watching that game on Thursday night, I'm hoping we play Ramaz over SAR.
I think that's no secret across the league. I think everyone, DRS wants to play Ramaz.
I just think, it's like you said, it's an opponent we've never faced before. And usually when you go cold against an opponent that's going to be an overwhelming favorite, it doesn't usually work to your advantage because you have no way to study your previous games and your film and your matchups. So I would expect DRS to win pretty easily if it's Ramaz. If it's SAR, I would say to everyone out there, buckle up.
Right. So wait, so you predicted DRS over SAR or SAR over DRS?
I actually predicted SAR over DRS. And if that's the case, you'll see 3 out of 4 Western Conference semifinal teams.
Right. Absolutely. Which, last year you had all 4 in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
So we'll see. These are a lot of great games, and we get to witness it all. It should be all coming this week or next, depending on scheduling, snowstorms, and all the different matchups that have to get played. But this is great. This is Yeshiva basketball. Speaking of Yeshiva basketball, we have the date. April 2nd is going to be the Yeshiva League second annual All-Star game at Flatbush, the Triangle Gymnasium. All coaches and ADs have been sent their ballots to fill out. No stuffing the ballots, to nominate their players who they think are deserving. This is both JV and varsity. April 2nd is the game. We are pretty much almost guaranteed going to announce the team live on our podcast. We'll announce each team for the JV and varsity. It's going to be a great show. That will be as we get closer to the balloting and all of that finalizing. But wow, what a great time of year. As Ricky said, it's almost March. Anything can happen. This is great. We have some great games ahead of us. We have Holy Schnitzel, Got to Get a Bagel, Camp Seneca Lake. Our advertisers are really amazing. They've been with us through all season. Camp Seneca Lake coming in the home stretch here, really to support Yeshiva League Pass podcast tip-off show. I'm Ari Wickes for Oren Glickman. Episode 8 is in the book.